Thank you for giving me the time so I could actually go ahead and speak to you. I loved the film. I really did. It was good. I mean, man, the action sequences, the story itself, just, man, it was good. It was good. I mean, and well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, 9 film franchise. That's what we're dealing with. And you starred in roughly what, 6 of them? So
No, I only started in 8 was my first one. So that was my second.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Funny. I've been around a lot though.
So, talk about your experience with this sniper film. Like this time around. I mean, what separates this experience from experiences prior?
I think definitely comfortability. We got into this one. We've formed friendships, beyond the film, real friendships, after the first film. So there was a real easy banter between us, especially between Chad and I. And we were able to sort of, get Zero away from being both Zero and Brandon have been loners.
Yeah.
We wanted to bring them together in a old school buddy cop action movie kind of way. And you see the style of the film and stuff pays a lot of homages to those great films of the era, eras gone. But I think that was the other thing. And also I think having being able to expand on Zero's sense of humor a little bit and bring some of that levity and bring some of the humor out of Brandon as well,
that's definitely something that we saw. Like it just pretty much translated from what was happening behind the camera to what we actually got to see as far as the experience of you guys having fun with making this film. And just like you touched on the humor itself, I love the fact that this time you did bring it out a little bit more. Was that something that was pretty much provided through Oliver Thompson, since he kind of wrote this and etc.?
Yeah, we call Oliver the architect of the Sniperverse, and Oliver, although he didn't direct 8, Assassin's End, he was there all day, every day, and he wrote it. And him and Kari Andrews, who I have great level of respect for, who did an amazing job on Assassin's End, they had a really good connection and they vibed really well. And so moving forward, we knew Oliver was going to direct this one. And like I said, friendships were formed, like real friendships. Oliver and I became friends. Chad and I became friends. Sayak, and we all just stayed in touch. And we were, the minute we finished, 8, we were already talking about 9 and 10, and we were like, what are we going to do? What do we want to do? And Oliver's amazing that way. And so he saw some of the things that we had played with in 8, and then he wrote that into my character going forward.
Okay. I mean, I definitely see it. Like I said before, it translates to it. I mean, I was going to ask, about his directing style and what he added to Sniper Road Mission, but you pretty much answered that one right off the bat.
Well, one of the cool things that he did, I think when we did Assassin's End, it was stylized very uniquely. It was different from the franchise prior. But what that allowed us to do is sort of take the gloves off with how we want to play with this genre, right? So when Oliver decided, he had a very specific direction for this one visually. And even I was like, I'm just going to go with it. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, damn, this is incredible. Like, you did that. Like, oh, that's the shot you were talking. I didn't know we were like, there were shots where I was like, why are you way over there? Okay, I just trust you. You do your thing. And then I saw the movie. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. That's how much we trusted Oliver. We were just like, oh, you want to put us on a rooftop with the camera like a mile away? Whatever, sure, man, cool.
Sure.
And then you see the shot and you're like, that's amazing.
Well, that's definitely something that I noticed a lot with the film, just the way it was shot, and also the action in this film.
Yeah.
For instance, there's a great fight scene in the alley with between Lady Death and everything like that, and it's just like the movement, the quickness, all these moments, all these steps. The fight with you in the hallway, where it goes from you guys up close, you kind of step out of the elevator, you're in the hallway, it's just silhouettes, and you guys are moving so quickly, and then thrown back over into the elevator. It felt like a scene from John Wick, but even amped up higher.
Yeah,
How much
thanks, man.
training did you have to do for that?
Well, I think Chad and I, we train year round anyway. And then with those, that was my first day on set, by the way. That elevator fight scene, that was like the very first thing I shot.
No way.
Like, man, like straight into it, like 12 and a half hours or whatever we were filming. And, we had a really good, amazing stunt team. Johnny was incredible. Our guy from Sniper 8, Brett Chan, brought his like best guys to the table. The hits, all the hits group, and then Winnipeg, where we filmed, had an incredible pool of actors and stunt folks. And it was nice to like see fresh faces, and man, like everybody worked so hard. And you see it in those fight scenes. I mean, I got there, we only really had a handful of days to rehearse those scenes and those beats, but that just goes to how amazing and professional that team was. My old buddy Sean Beats Beaton, he was there as a fight choreographer, coordinator, and him and I have developed a shorthand over the years, so it was really helpful for me to have him there as well. But man, it was crazy. I like to get down and dirty. I like to do as much as I can. And
dear God, we see that with your character, and just
careful what you wish for. But that's the thing. At the end, I was like, Oliver's like, no, careful what you wish for. I was like, we're gonna put you in an elevator, and then nothing you can do. Like Jack Kingsley's my stunt double, and Jack took some big hits from me, but mostly it's like they're like, it's you, go for it. Yeah,
that makes sense. So with all that you've been through with this film and just a series of them, what do you think you've learned about yourself by playing this character?
Well, I think I've learned that I bring more of myself to characters than I like to believe. I like to think I do. Somebody asked me if Zero and I were similar, and I was like, nah, oh, wait a second. Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, I guess we're both impatient. We're both hotheads. We both have a strong moral compass, very principled individuals. But these movies have sort of reinvigorated my love for making films. And I did not anticipate that going in. I thought this is going to be a super fun job. It's going to be great. But they remind me that filmmaking can still be fun, that we can have a good time while we do this. And we can still tell a really solid, important message, but we can also have a good time doing it. And we can also let the audience off the hook from time to time and bring in some levity, so the audience isn't drowning in sorrow for the entire film, because that's not what these films are about. These films are a perfect 90 minutes of just raw entertainment. We want you to feel it in your heart. We want to give you something to latch onto, something that matters, something that's important, but we want to entertain you throughout the thing. We want you to just have popcorn and soda and not have to think about the problems that you're having, and just be entertained for a good 90 minutes, and then away you go.
Man, I mean, it's something, once again, like I said, what's happening behind the camera and what's happening when the camera isn't rolling definitely translates to it. And just like you're saying right now, like the chemistry between you guys, like just with Jocelyn, Mary Jane, everyone.
Oh, it was so fun.
And talk to me about working with that group.
When I found out Josh signed on, I was elated because I love Silicon Valley and I love his character on that show and he's amazing.
So
Then when I found out we got Dennis and we're finally we're the Colonel. Here's the Colonel, and it's Dennis, and I was like, what? This is incredible. Like, and and then you get Dennis was the one that reminded me that the Tom Berenger connection and Tom and Dennis had done Major League together. And I was like, oh,
yes. Oh,
so now I get to get regaled with all these tales from a legend. And then, Brendan Sexton III is just incredible. And then Sayaka, you want to talk about like how fun it is. So Sayaka does such a good job at Lady Death, just being so just intense and terrifying. And the minute you yell cut, this big disarming smile, and she's so fun and lovely and happy, and you're like, you're amazing. Yeah, honestly, man, Jocelyn Houdon, who came in and played Mary Jane under crazy circumstances, and she killed it. And that girl herself is like a legitimate badass. You follow her on Instagram and just look at the stuff she does with like butterfly knives and nunchucks and fighting, and she's crazy. And then she'll ballet dance like a ballerina. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it takes all kinds for you to be able to do exactly what you do, and it takes a lot of just kind of research and bringing everything together for yourself. You are a sniper in this film, sniper assassin, and how good are you in real life with long distance shooting?
Well, I did play a sniper on a TV series called Falling Skies for a number of years, so I did have some experience. But my rifle was a Barrett M82, so it was a 50 cal. So it was like you shoot a mile with that thing. I've had some training. I'm Canadian, so people think we don't deal with we don't have as easily accessible firearms up here, but that's not necessarily the case. We can go to a range and we can fire, and I train with some friends of mine who are ex special forces, so they take me out, and I'm a pretty good shot, man. I'm just like, to get to your point, I'm a pretty good shot. I don't know, like, Chad and I have never. We should do that. We should go to a range. Chad and I should go to a range. I'd be curious to see.
Do it.
Because I know
supplemental kind of promo stuff.
I know Chad is a good shot. I'm a really good shot with a handgun. I think I say really good. I should be more humble. I'm okay. I'm pretty good.
F it. Don't be humble. We're talking. We're having a conversation. Say what you're.
I'm pretty good. I can hit a target upside. I can hit a target upside down.
Speaking of shooting, snipers, assassins, I understand you did indeed lend your voice to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So
that was Chad. That was Chad.
Oh no, that was Chad. Oh
yeah, my God. I wish. Oh that's man, right. I wish I got to do that. Yeah, that's shoot. Chad. And Chad's so cool about that. Like, he'll go online and play with the fans as his character, and they just decimate him most of the time. But yeah.
Well, has Chad brought you into playing it yourself?
I didn't play it until I spoke to Chad about it, and then yeah. Oh. Chad is a gamer though. Chad loves all kinds of games. Like that guy will.
So I've understood he's definitely like heavy into
it. yeah. More so than me. I like a good video game, but Chad plays like he's crazy with like the Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and he's so knowledgeable about that stuff. It's super fun. I could talk to him about that stuff for hours.
Well, see, that's Chad's, as I call it, geek. That's his geek out.
Yep.
What's yours?
Yeah. Comic books.
Okay, what are you reading right now?
Well, what I'm reading right now, I'm about to start Rick Remender's Scumbag.
Oh, no way!
That'll be
good read.
I've been very, very slowly going back through Seven to Eternity because I don't want it to end. So I'm sort of refusing to finish it. Yeah, I'm a big Rick Remender fan, and I'm really grateful to call him a friend. We did a series called Deadly Class together.
Yes.
And but I was a fan of Rick's before that.
Really?
Black Science and Low and of course the Deadly Class comics. But also, you know what I'm doing now is I'm rereading Sandman, because that's probably my favorite comic of all time. And I started watching it on Netflix.
I was just gonna ask.
And I love it. Neil Gaiman had said, the fans who've read the books think they know what to expect, but we got to make sure that they don't always know what's coming. So they've changed some things from the comics to the series, even some storylines. But I'm down, man. I'm in it. I'm loving it, because my whole life I'm like thinking he's uncastable. Morpheus is uncastable. Yes. You cannot. The closest I ever thought, maybe back in the day, maybe Paul Bettany. But I was like, other than that, he's uncastable.
He is.
And then they found him.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, so good.
Now, so I got to ask you, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel? So,
yeah.
What character do you have your eye on that we need to go ahead and push a campaign to get you as?
Well, everybody always says Wolverine. Everybody always tells me, like, I think just because of my size and I'm Canadian and this whole situation. Growing up, I was a huge Spider-Man fan. My buddy Kari Andrews, he wrote this amazing 4-piece comic strip called Spider-Man Reign, and it was about old Spider-Man, older Peter Parker, after everybody's gone and he's retired the suit. And I loved that comic so much that I was like, man, maybe one day I can play like old Peter Parker. But then they did such a great job with all the multiverse stuff, and the animated stuff was just so amazing, and meeting all the different Spider folk. I was like, man, you can't touch it. You just can't touch it anymore. And then the last Spider-Man movie, Tom Holland he's like the Robert Downey Jr. of casting for Spider-Man, in my opinion. I think he's perfect. I think Robert Downey Jr. set the bar for casting for Marvel, and Marvel's been very aware of that. And I think they're doing a pretty good job, man. But honestly, there are like Nightcrawler was my favorite X-Man. I used to be a circus performer, so I think that's why. I do like DC. There are a lot of DC characters I like, but like Pat Mills and the 2000 AD stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to play Slane. He's like the 2000 AD. I don't know. He's like Pat's Conan or Lobo or Wolverine or pick him, and he's this Irish folklore beast of a man. And I had this wonderful conversation with Pat, and he said to me, if this ever got made as a movie, you're my second choice. And I was like, I don't need to ask who the first choice is.
No, I mean, but still, wow.
And I do, but he told me, and it's Tom Hardy, because of course it is. Yeah. So, well, maybe, but a guy can dream. I love those movies so much. I love great cinema, but I also love great entertainment. And I think when the Russo brothers got on board with Marvel, they started just killing it and just so good. And then with Taika Waititi with the Thor stuff, and come on, it's crazy good right now.
Oh, jeez. All right, man. I can talk to you for hours, but I know I can't.
Taika is so good. He got Idris Elba to come back.
I mean, because he
That's
said
how good he
is. Want to come back, man.
How good Taika is, right? Like, think about that. Like, and Idris, rightfully so. I mean, he was underutilized, and everyone knew it. But then I'm like, come on now.
Oh, man. See, honestly, right now, it's just like, all right, I can talk to you for hours. I know I can't.
I can do this forever. But we got
to say once again, thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. It was just a great opportunity to be able to speak to you. I miss being able to speak to you concerning Deadly Class, so I'm glad I got to speak to you now. So
yeah, man, likewise. And by the way, Illuminerdi is it's the best, man. It's so good. I love it so much.
Thank you.
I'm down.
Much. We try.
I'm down. No, I love it.
All right. So once again, thank you very much. It was great speaking to you. Look forward to seeing anything that's coming out for you next.
Thank you, my friend.